My name is Sreejit Chakrabarty. I am the Director for Artificial Intelligence and Robotics at GEMS, Dubai American Academy, which is the flagship school for GEMS education. I have been living and working in Dubai for the past 10 years, and I've done a lot of roles, starting from training in robotics, training teams, training staff and teachers, setting up robotics labs, setting up STEAM curriculums. I have worked extensively with corporates, creating CSR initiatives for companies such as Emirates Airlines, and also have worked with ministries of education in all over GCC as well as in India. So my interest has always been in emerging technologies. Robotics primarily was the emerging technology almost a decade back, but right now it's varied. So I am really excited about technologies like artificial intelligence, blockchain, the metaverse, so on and so forth. So that's my area of domain. And what I do in my day-to-day life is kind of scan the horizon and see what are the technologies and how they can benefit and impact education, and make use of that information and make sure our curriculum, the subjects that students learn in schools are relevant, so they have those skill sets that are required when they graduate from the system. So why is technology important in education? And this is a question we as educators get asked always. And I think this was pretty much answered very clearly with the pandemic and how we as educationists reacted to that. And technology was the main source of our resilience at the time of coping up with the pandemic. But also we should look at what are the future technologies, what are the emerging technologies that the world is moving towards, and how it can benefit us as educators or our students. For example, some of the most adventurous technologies that the world is stepping into right now is the world of Web3. So this includes blockchain, the metaverse, NFTs, decentralization, etc., etc. And how can it help us or help our students? Because that is the world they're going to live in. By the time they graduate from our system, blockchain is going to be all around them. Artificial intelligence is going to be all around them. So as educators, it is our imperative duty to make sure at least they are aware of such technologies, if not master them. So how is exponential emerging technologies helping educationists? I believe it's already making a big impact. For example, let's take the case of artificial intelligence and machine learning. Now, as educators, as an education system, or even as education company, or even a school, for example, has huge applications of AI and machine learning. Now, there is a lot of data that a school generates. Now, how best we can make use of data to make sure we can help understand the progress of a student's learning journey, for example. So that's where machine learning comes into the picture. We can use this data and compile it and feed it to a machine learning model, which can churn out amazing predictions. It can help us understand where the student is struggling, how or what kind of strategies we can adopt to make sure that the student's learning becomes more better and deeper, and also ways in which the student can try to understand those concepts in a much more tertiary manner. For example, if the student is learning better with auditory or video content, the system itself can give those kind of content to the students to make sure his learning is more better. This is just one example of how emerging technologies can assist us as educators. But there are more. For example, virtual reality. We all live in a world where we are surrounded with gadgets. But why not just move away from consuming technology to be creators of technology? Now, this is where we always want our students to take the ownership of their learning. So in a middle school, for example, students put on their VR glasses and they transform themselves into another world. That's amazing, but why not have them create that world by using exponentially emerging technologies like softwares like Unity 3D, CoSpaces, Roblox, so that they can create their own surroundings and then use the VR to go inside them. So that gives the power for them to become creators. And as a byproduct of this, they are learning the skill sets that are required for this generation to succeed. Well, I believe the future of education is in safe hands, and technology is going to be really, really beneficial to add a layer of convenience and information on top of it. There are two ways to look at it. One is a short-term view, and then one is a long-term view. What I personally believe is with the advent of the Web3 and the metaverse and virtual schooling, it's all going to supplement our existing education system. It will not replace it, but it's going to add a layer of convenience and remove the barriers that exist right now. For example, a student can start learning about any topic at any time of the day. He is not limited to the school hours. He should not be limited to the brick and mortar school itself. If he wants to learn outside the school, he can do that with the help of a class in the metaverse, for example. There would not be any boundaries in terms of what the students are learning. There could be classrooms that could be span across countries. We can have like 500 different students in one classroom from more than 100 different countries. That is a reality that we're looking at. Access to simulations is increasing. Students can work on high-end simulators, which are used in industries right from the comfort of their home, just putting on a VR glass. Use of machine learning and AI has also been is also going to be a huge impact. For example, assessments. A lot of these assessments that are happening today can be done by machine learning, and it can start giving predictive analysis to students to start making better choices in terms of how or what strategies they adopt to start learning. So I believe technology as a whole, but exponentially emerging technologies in particular, is going to be critical and crucial in the next wave or the next phase of education that we are moving into, which is probably the education 4.0, which kind of goes hand in hand with the industrial 4.0 revolution that's taking place. And I think a lot of skill sets are similar in terms of upskilling the workers and the higher education students, but we also have to look at how we can do the same for K-12. And that's where I think integration of these emerging technologies in the existing classroom is of vital importance. And I think it's being done now, and I will be very excited to see what is the outcome after the next 10 years. So there are a lot of emerging technologies out there where a lot of research and development is going on. For example, robotics, artificial intelligence, cloud computing, so on and so forth. But there are particularly a few of those that I believe are going to revolutionize the industry as well as education sector. One of them is, I believe, Web3, or it's the world of Web3 that we're entering, which encompasses terms like the metaverse. So, for example, the metaverse is going to impact education in a big way, wherein it's going to actually benefit educators rather than just replace what they're doing existingly, but going to bring the classrooms closer together and give access to content and feedback mechanisms to students in a much more immersive manner. Then we also have the world of NFTs, or non-fungible tokens. Right now, we are just limited to NFTs being pieces of digital content, being art or music. But later on, there are a lot of use cases where it can be used in the education sector. For example, NFTs as educational certificates or degrees, which sits on the blockchain of wallet of a student and can be shared with the university for the application process. So that's one of the future applications. There are many more. For example, the world of sensors and IoT is going to be huge in the next couple of decades. And I believe we are slowly moving from the concept of IoT, which is Internet of Things, to the concept of IoE, which is Internet of Everything, and coupling it with the sensor technology and bionics, wherein we kind of used our existing sensors of the human body and sensors from the outside and merge them together to give us input signals and loads of data points, which can be used to trigger outputs that we couldn't even fathom or think of previously. So that's the world that is extremely exciting, merging the physical and the human world and the robotics world to create those kind of technologies. And lastly, I believe quantum computing is one more technology that we should really take a closer look at. We are all the way at a very nascent stage of that technology. We don't really understand the importance or the depth of or the power of that technology, but I believe in a few years' time, we will realize how beneficial it is. Most probably with the help of technologies like 5G and 6G networks with low latency, higher bandwidth of data communication, and access to quantum computers, the amount of data that we can churn out and create strategies around is going to be limitless. We'll see that students in schools are working on creating machine learning models, feeding it to the quantum computer, and getting results in a matter of minutes, which used to previously take probably days or even months. We will see the medicine industry create drugs and cures for diseases in a matter of months, which used to take years and years of research. So that's the power of quantum computing. It just propels us towards getting our work done in a lightning speed. And I believe as educators, we should all make use of these technologies and give our students access to these technologies so that once they graduate from our schools, they are the citizens of the new world. They are citizens of the smart city, and they already have those skill sets required to excel in these circumstances.